Clive Barker Podcast Audio Commentaries.
Thanks to your generous donations to our Kickstarter funding campaign, Clive Barker Podcast presents Fundraising Inferno 5. Hey, welcome. This is our first audio commentary that we're doing for Clive Barker Podcast Presents Fundraising Inferno 5. This was one of our Kickstarter goals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hi. As usual, I'm Joe.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Rob. Everybody's doing good.
Before we get into, this is going to be our audio commentary for Salome. Before we get into that, we want to do a quick thanks to all of our Kickstarter supporters because the Kickstarter ended last weekend.
Yes, it was very successful. And go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just thanks for all the fans for just for all the for supporting us. This is helping us to reach our goals, the stretch goals, and all that. It was very, it really was really nice feeling to know that we have a lot of fans that enjoy what we do and like to listen to the podcast. And man, I'm bad. I'm really bad right now. You might just want to cut all that out.
Rob is shedding a tear. He's really emotional.
Yeah, I'm getting emotional.
We're going to Texas for a weekend. Choo choo.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, thanks to everybody for supporting us. We made it to a point in the Kickstarter I never thought we would make it. Thanks so much to Max Lichter of the Pyramid Gallery for helping us with offering so many boxes for our listeners to bid on. And so Ryan, well, what do we got here? What are we doing?
All right, so we are going to thank the Kickstarter backers. So we've got Jeffrey Rabe. Do you want to? Mm-hmm. We can just read them off each if you want to. Okay,
sure. So Jeffrey Rabe, right? And David Anderson.
Bill Eisen.
Ben Warren.
And Rob Riddenauer. Who's that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Alan Westenbarger.
Lori Bish.
Scott Gurman.
Elena DeGarmo.
Mark Bender.
Robert Archuleta.
Carol Archuleta.
Astrid Klostercutter.
Jay Noon.
David Harris.
Kristen Dennis.
Demetrios Lacomentes.
Eduardo Texidor Jr.
William Johnson.
Rob Robinson.
Marcus Williams.
Simon Altman.
Nikolai, is that Nikolai?
I think so. Peterson.
Yeah.
And Tucker Christine.
And then Elena DeGarmo again.
Stephanie Kushner.
Yeah. Georgine Lee.
Joseph San Jose.
Jim Brady.
Adam Ducey.
Matthew Henshaw.
Matt Dowling.
Awesome. Oh, this is also Matt Dowling under a different account. Yeah.
Okay. AwesomeBmovies.com, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's his website. Mm-hmm. School of Night.
This one was just like it said guest, but I think it's Little Spark Films.
Yeah,
so
Little Spark.
It's probably Joe Manco, but
Joe Manco.
He hasn't answered yet.
And Catalina Carita.
Yeah.
So Kathleen O'Shea.
Martin White.
Colin King.
Don Bertram.
Bradley Gartz.
C.J. Wilkins.
David Sharp.
Paul Schaff.
Christian Burnson.
And Marcel Fraser.
Yeah, thanks to everybody who supported us on the Kickstarter. Of course, we have a lot of our own contributors in here and old-time contributors as well. And sorry if we mangled some of your names.
Yeah, I was going to say Kickstarter doesn't come with a pronunciation guide, unfortunately.
That's true. So 46, right? 46 supporters here. And
It's really great.
So some people, asked me if they could just increase their pledge and then we would take stuff off the list and they could add things, but other people created second accounts,
Gotcha.
to buy other things. So that's why we did have a couple of duplicates in there.
Right. So what are we doing next?
All right. So now we are on to the Salome audio commentary.
Okay.
And for those following along at home, we're using the Blu-ray that came in the Scarlet box. I think it's a little simpler. Some people might have the Redemption DVD, and if you have that, get past all of the all of the vampire.
All of the vampire.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, I never had that DVD, so I don't know. I never saw.
It was originally a VHS. It was from Redemption Films, I think, Redemption Video.
Yeah.
And it has like a 15-minute. Is it a 15-minute opening?
It's like
I think
30 minutes.
Yeah. And basically, it's just this woman with white contact lenses and this crazy headgear, and like vampire teeth talking about vampires and. I don't know. It's kind of like it's very silly in a way, but
it's a whole bunch of previews for some kind of other movies that they put out that nobody's heard of.
Yeah.
Very cheaply, kind of B movie, softcore.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yep. There are some titties and stuff in there, and they talk about duchesses, heiresses, horesses, and stuff like that.
I haven't watched that since like the 90s.
Aristocratic vampire duchesses that kind of goes into that Hammer like thing, like Vampiros Lesbos or Carmilla and stuff like that. So it's a crazy intro. If you have that one, hold on to that, because that's probably out of print for years now. But so we're doing this. There was also a standalone edition of Salome and the Forbidden, right? I think I remember Rob making an article about it. Came out a few years ago, and then it finally came out as well on the Scarlet Box, like Ryan said.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's the one we're watching.
Yeah, I think was it Seraphim self-published the one from a couple of years back.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have that one because I already had it on the Redemption DVD, and then now in the Scarlet Box. So I don't think any of us bought that, but it was interesting. I was interested to see what was on it, in terms of special features and stuff. But
I wonder if it's still in print. I mean, because I'll have to look that up yet on Amazon.
Yeah. Well, and if they probably have some at Clive Barker's, at Seraphim Studios, but their web store is in transition, so we don't know when or if it'll be available to buy again.
So I want to start by saying something weird here, which is that I was looking up some information about this, and I discovered that these movies were basically never completed, right? They were just completed back in 1993, even though these movies.
I think Salome was completed, but The Forbidden wasn't.
Yeah.
Right. And so these movies were basically edited 6 years after Hellraiser came out, especially the Forbidden one. So, and the person who edited this was a man called Peter Whittle for the South Bank show in 1993. And after they did that, they decided, well, now that we have them in edited form, let's release them. And I was so surprised to hear that this guy who helped Clive Barker edit this stuff for the South Bank show, Peter Whittle, actually is now he's now a cultural where did I put that on? He's now a cultural member. How should I say? Not cultural member, but he is in charge of the culture department at the UKIP, the UK Independence Party, which is very surprising because this is an extremely right-wing, populist, anti-European party. So it's very, very disappointing to find out that Peter Whittle from the South Bank show is now the UKIP's new culture spokesman.
Wow.
That is so strange. That is very, very strange for me.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
They show him a little bit on one of the parts of the documentary, I believe.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
and if you watch this with the introduction,
Yeah, the introduction.
that he starts it out before it goes into Clive Barker and Peter Atkins and Doug Bradley.
Because they were making a documentary on Clive,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Oh.
Was he working on a documentary, Peter Whittle? That's what I think he said or mentioned.
I remember him being connected to the South Bank show when Clive was in it. So I think that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That was like back in '93. So yeah. But yeah, now he's in the UKIP, the party that was founded by Nigel Farage, and they were very, very vocal about Brexit and all that. So weird.
Sometimes it's better not to know.
That this was edited together by a guy who was a staunch conservative and now is a very staunch anti-immigration, for Brexit and all that. So I don't know how that happened, but it happened. So this guy is the guy that helped edit together the Forbidden, at least I think.
So I was wondering we're not going to talk about we're going to talk about the Forbidden later, but the birds. The animated birds, if that was something that Clive and Company did, or do you think that was something added?
No, I think that was part of what they did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Back in the day,
yeah.
Okay, well, are you guys ready? We can do the countdown and get started on it?
Okay,
yeah, sure.
So I'm on the menu that says the Clive Barker Legacy Special Features, and I'm going to pick Salome, and we're going to see a short intro, right?
We're going to play it without the introduction.
Oh, okay. Play without the introduction. So there we go. Okay, you want to do the countdown?
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, play.
Okay, here we go. So of course this credit sequence here was made in '93.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. It looks really similar to the one that's also on the Forbidden.
Looks like the Predator vision.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Predator vision.
Yeah.
I
like
the music in these short films.
Yeah. That's also got to be edited in '93, right?
Yeah. It has to be.
Yeah. It was a silent film originally, so they never scored it. I forgot to check out who scored it. I don't even know if we can find that information.
Yeah, it sounds really similar to the Forbidden also. So this character here, the clown-looking one there behind her, is that a witch or a demon?
I think it's supposed to be a member of the court of Herod, King Herod.
Oh, like a jester, maybe?
Yeah. It's if you read the play by Oscar Wilde, he depicts Herod's court as being very chaotic, full of like strange, crazy characters.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
I like the way that the light glints off her eyes in this shot.
Yeah. And in the introduction, Peter Atkins had said that they deliberately made the light just really focused on the characters so that you couldn't really see
no depth.
No depth. You couldn't see how small the space they were in was.
Well, this was the one that was shot in the flower shop in Liverpool, right?
So they'd have to move all of the flower pots.
Flowers out of
it was.
There was a shot previously. If you notice, there was a shot of a flame. Kind of reminded me of the shot from the opening credits of Nightbreed.
Oh,
yes, good catch. Yeah, when the credits start. So this movie was shot in Super 8, so it has a smaller resolution than the Forbidden that we're going to see later, because the Forbidden was shot in 16 millimeter, and it was shot at the florist shop basement in Liverpool. It has Phil Rimmer as John the Baptist, I think. Doug Bradley as King Herod. I think over there is Clive Barker acting as a living chandelier.
Yeah, that's cool. I thought that was him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Ann Taylor is the beautiful and enticing Salome.
So that's Phil Rimmer as John the Baptist. Okay.
I think so. And then we have cool. Graham Bickley, Julie Blake, and Lynn Darnell, who would later become Doug Bradley's wife, first wife. So I think that's her, Lynn. So it was based on Oscar Wilde's play of Salome, like I said. I had a copy of it that I read when I was younger, and I still have it in Portugal. And I have a version that's illustrated by Aubrey Beardsley, which is a really cool edition, and I recommend you guys find it if you can with the illustrations, because they're really wonderful. I think that Clive and the Dog Company actually did this play for several times before shooting it in Super 8. And on the boards, on the stage, Doug Bradley played a blind John the Baptist with a paper mache covering his eyes, painted by Clive Barker, which was their first attempt at special effects. So here we have, if you're familiar with the story of Salome, she's going to visit John the Baptist trapped in King Herod's dungeons.
And he had him in prison because John the Baptist was against because King Herod left his wife or something like that. And I'm trying to remember the backstory from the Bible.
Yeah, he criticized King Herod a lot, and he was claiming that the real king was going to come, and of course, he was talking about Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
John the Baptist was often referred to in philosophical and theological treatises as vox clementis in desertum, which means the voice shouting in the desert, because he used to live in the desert and eat grasshoppers and honey. Nowadays, you probably call him a little bit kooky, a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
But then people like that were called prophets. So. And of course, his moniker came from baptizing people in the River Jordan. There we see Salome is trying to seduce him, but he rejects her because he thinks that she's obviously a giant hussy. He wants nothing to do with her. And I think she was King Herod's adoptive daughter, right? Like she was the daughter of his queen.
Yes.
Well, this is all really helpful for me. I never understood anything about what's going on.
Yeah, I know. It's helping me understand the story even more.
Yeah.
You also can find out more about the story in the Bible, of course.
Right.
Yeah. But here's something from Peter Atkins himself in conversation with me on the Doug Bradley boards back in 2006. That's when I first got in touch with Peter Atkins. And he said that Salome predates my involvement with the Dog Company, by the way. I first met everyone a year later in 1974 when I was a mere slip of a lad of 18, and they were a bunch of old farts. Clive and Phil, for example, were already 21, practically middle-aged.
Sounds like Peter.
Yep.
He's got a good sense of humor about time back. I mean, and in the introduction, when he talks about the forbidden, he talks about kind of like how pretentious it was.
Yeah, snotty and pretentious.
Yeah.
I like the minimalist score. I think it's very moody.
Yeah.
And sometimes they add a few sound effects here and there, like gasps and.
And
it's King Herod right there.
I love this shot right here with this like smoke with hair. It's just very wonderful imagery.
There's like pounding on the door in the Forbidden, right, that they added for a sound effect.
Yeah, for example.
And I like the, what do you call it? The
lighting?
No, what do you call it? The stock footage where it's all
scratched up.
Yeah, scratched up.
Yeah.
The painting in the background, I love that design back there. You can tell it's like a very Clive Barker-esque painting.
Yes.
Style.
Yeah.
They taped wallpaper backwards to the wall and then painted designs on it.
Wow.
Yep. I love the slow motion on the dance here.
Yeah.
It's going to be a theme with these two movies, right? That there's a lot of dancing in it.
Yeah, dance numbers.
Yeah, they were into mime and
very physical, silent theater.
Yeah.
And of course, this is Salome's dance, and the whole point of Salome's dance is it's kind of like she's trying to seduce and manipulate Herod into giving her anything she wants. And of course, it's kind of a creepy scene because, of course, Herod was her, stepfather, and she's basically trying to seduce him and get him to grow lustful and be like, okay, yes, I'll do anything you want. And then, of course, she's going to ask for John the Baptist's head. That's how the story goes. And of course, you see that she's wearing this white see-through gown, and you can see the light shining from underneath, and it kind of makes it glow, and you see her contour silhouette, and it's just beautiful. She looks like an angel.
Yeah, I was going to say it looks like very angel.
I think those scratches on the stock that you were talking about, Rob, probably came from the fact that this was, who knows how this was stored over the years, right? I mean,
yeah. I think it adds something to it, gives it kind of a grindhouse kind of vibe.
It might have looked a little cleaner back in '72.
Sure. It also depends on what sort of techniques they use to develop the film, I guess. Because right now it seems a little, it's not super clear. It looks like there's kind of this weird negative effect on it.
Yeah.
Which is not a negative effect, but it's just the contours are kind of strange and ethereal.
Yeah, there's sort of a haze around the motion on it in the bodies. Fuzzy lines.
It creates kind of like a dream type quality to the whole thing. Yeah. Or it creates more of like what Joe they was saying, like maybe to help with the seduction of the character he's trying to seduce.
Mm-hmm. Dancing has also been a common theme when it comes to religion and introducing like some sort of trance or some sort of manipulation or some sort of altered state. And in this case, yeah, it's the seduction dance, I think. So here she is going to her knees, and the dance is over.
Now, who's the actress here? She has the camera really. I don't know. She has a very.
Is that Lynn Darnell?
Is that Doug?
And Taylor.
And
okay.
Taylor. Okay.
And Doug Bradley as King Herod.
I don't know. The camera really likes her face. She has a very photogenic kind of like face. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
And she was part of the dog company, correct?
Yes, she was. Some people in the dog company went on to have really good careers. Ann Taylor was in Salome, and then she was in Night Gallery in 1969. And at least that's what she's got here on the credits in IMDb, which I'm not sure if this is super correct, but it says here that she was Miss Moretti in Night Gallery in 1971.
Oh.
And I am not entirely sure this is accurate. So
that naked person is also Salome with the torch?
I think it's just
like
supposed to be like a living candlestick again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is supposed to be an executioner coming down the stairs into the dungeon to cut John the Baptist's head off.
Okay, so there's not really a reason for him to be naked.
No, it's just because of the classicism of the. Yeah. There's no reason for them to be naked. I mean, back then, obviously, people wore clothes, but it's just about these are avant-garde films. So, yeah.
I like these strange movements right here. Is that the kind of like the mime kind of stuff you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
really
we
nice.
got, is that Clive Barker in slow motion cutting the head off of John the Baptist?
I can't say.
Yeah. It's.
Again, this shot, it's very angelic, right? It looks like her dress looks like wings almost in a way, like she's floating in this like
Yeah. It does look like
big
he's floating in
vacuum.
the air.
Nothing. Yeah. It's really, really an impressive, striking frame here. And she is considering, she is happy because she knows that she's getting her revenge, and she's going to be able to, finally have Jokanon's head, right?
Yeah.
Supposed to be a moment where she's going to be presented with the head, and she's going to ask him, Jokanon, are you Elias? Because at the time they thought that John the Baptist was supposed to be the prophet Elias.
I like how that figure just comes out of the darkness. You don't really see him. He just kind of.
It's like I take this as kind of a dream that she's having, that she's making love to John the Baptist.
Yeah. I like that shot there. It's kind of strange.
Almost because you don't really see the guy's head, and it kind of makes me think if that was on purpose. Yeah.
Huh.
That at the time they thought that John the Baptist might be the reincarnation of the prophet Elias as well. So that's why King Herod didn't want to kill him. He just wanted to keep him in jail, again, because he was preaching against him and all that. So, and then of course, if he had never killed John the Baptist, then John the Baptist probably would have never gotten to the prominence of being a martyr that he got to today. So here she's been presented with a head. Of course, this story is completely impossible to verify. I mean, this is just what people have from legend from the Bible, and it's like, I don't know to what extent this is actually verifiable by any sort of record. Especially the part where, Salome took the head and then she kissed it and all that. And it's like...
Yeah, that's all. And that's also like the way they did the effect there, where it's really, they didn't create a fake head. They just did camera angles where, it's...
Yeah, they just used darkness.
Yeah.
Like Arnie in Nightbreed. His head on the table there.
And then here's Doug Bradley saying, "Kill her!" And then basically on the play that these Herod soldiers would just run into the courtroom and just trample her and crush her with their shields, which is, I think, what they're trying to symbolize here, because this is almost like a shield.
Oh, I see.
Looks like she's being almost kind of like, bound, which is a common theme in Clive, bondage, trapped. That's what I meant to say, bondage.
So he just didn't like that she kissed the head?
Yeah, it was kind of disturbing. A disturbing image for everybody in the court, and
yeah. Yeah.
Not something that people were happy to see. Because it was not only like distasteful, it was also sacrilegious, and I guess Herod was also feeling like he had enough of this sort of behavior.
I would hope so.
There's her little hand going down slowly to represent that she got smothered, trampled. Very striking image.
Yeah.
I think that when you think about avant-garde films and when you think about the significance of Salome's dance, it's from Mark 6:22. That's when the daughter of Herodias, who was the queen, came in and danced. It's just mentioned that she came in and danced. It's not described in any detail. It wasn't until the early 5th century, actually, that Salome was even given her name. Of course, her dance represents the sensuality, sex. And it's interesting because there is a man called Johannes Chrysostomos, stated in the 4th century that, and Chrysostomos was an archbishop of Constantinople. He said in about this that wherever there is a dance, the devil is also present. God did not give us our feet for dancing, but so that we might walk on the path of righteousness.
Like Footloose.
Yes.
Yeah.
So from the earliest days in the church, dancing was seen as like, that's bad, that's sinful.
Yeah.
Dirty dancing.
Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You remember the outrage over that movie, the Dirty Dancing and the lambada?
Yeah.
People were saying, "Oh, this is terrible. Teenagers are going to get doing more sex." And it's like, well, they're doing sex anyway.
Yeah.
That was the forbidden dance.
Yep. Yep, it was. So yeah.
We've reached the end. No credits.
Yes, we did. No credits, but we're back to the menu, at least for me. So
that was really cool. You had a lot of cool antidotes, Jose, for that were really interesting.
That was really that was really good.
Thanks for sharing all that stuff.
I wish I'd had you there with me when I watched this the first time.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
So you could understand it more.
Yeah, a bit more.
Well,
subtext.
I guess it's you guys, when it's just being inquisitive and curious and going on the internet and finding stuff about it. I guess just putting in Salome and see what pops up and.
So I'm gonna have to pick that copy of Oscar Wilde. See, I didn't know it was Oscar Wilde. It was based off Oscar Wilde's Salome. Unless
it was.
I'll have to pick that up because I like this. I'd like to have a copy of that.
Okay, that sounds good.
And this podcast, having no beginning, will have no end. Find the show notes for this episode and join the discussion over at www.clivebarkercast.com, where we have news and links to all the ways you can connect with us. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and every other place you can find podcasts. The Clive Barker Podcast is an independent editorial podcast and news blog that is not affiliated with or under contract by Seraphim Inc. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans.
Thanks for listening.